Hi, you're listening to Behind the Bib podcast with Lisa Watkins. Real talk for every runner. Hey y'all, greetings and salutations and welcome to another episode of Behind the Bib, where we have real talk for every runner. I'm your host, Lisa Watkins, and I am delighted to be here this afternoon with you. To those of you who liked, followed, commented, and did all of the social things with me, thank you so much for doing that. For those of you who haven't done it yet, why not? Head on over there to any of those social media platforms and do all of the like, follow, share type thingies, and it helps me get this content out in front of runners like you and I. It helps us grow the sport. It helps us encourage those that might be a little unsure about tackling their first 5K, their first 10K, or I don't know, maybe even their first marathon. Today we have a wonderful episode for you. We have the stunning Gerri Plain and Nicole Schroer, director of the Madison County Volunteer Lawyers Program, and they are going to talk about the upcoming Race for Justice that's going to be happening on Labor Day. I hope you guys really enjoyed this interview as much as I did. And now our first segment is good reviews and bad jokes. If you leave me a comment, a good review, either on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, whatever platform that you listen to Behind the Bib on, I will dedicate a joke specifically for you. And this one goes out to Shelby Britt, who left a comment on the half marathon review for the Teardrop Half. Okay, Shelby, are you ready for your bad joke? All right, here it goes. The son asked the mom, "Could you tell me what a solar eclipse is?" "No, son." Haha, you get it? Can you tell me what a solar eclipse is? And she said, "No, son. No, son." So there you go. There's your bad joke. I hope you're laughing or at least giggling to yourself. Thank you so much for leaving a comment on the Teardrop Half Marathon episode. All right, guys, let's get over to the interview with Nicole and Gerri. I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I did. We'll see you on the other side. All right, Nicole and Gerri, the wonderful faces behind the Race for Justice. Welcome to Behind the Bib.
Thank you, Lisa. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about why we're here today, which is to talk about the Race for Justice that's coming up on, I think it's on Labor Day, right?
It is, yes, Monday, Labor Day, September the 1st.
Okay, awesome. So let's start off with an introduction because I know you and Nicole and I go back at least a good 10 minutes. And so why don't we start with a little introduction and you can tell people and Behind the Bib listeners about who you are and how you got involved with Race for Justice and the Madison County Volunteer Lawyers Program. I think
Sure. I'm Nicole Schroer, and I'm the executive director of the Madison County Volunteer Lawyers Program. And really, Race for Justice was this idea that we came up with a couple of years ago as a new fundraiser for our organization. We've kind of gone through COVID years where there really weren't a lot of events happening in town. And we really thought, what would be a great way to get word out about what Madison County volunteer lawyers are doing and the ability to create a fundraiser for our organization. So we kind of had a little bit of a brainstorm with the board and came up with this idea to do a race and ended up calling it Race for Justice because that's what our organization is about. We are an organization that provides pro bono civil legal aid to low-income individuals. That's a lot of words in one. What that means is instead of providing criminal work, we provide civil legal aid. So it's things like family law, collections, evictions, estate planning, kind of anything in between for individuals who don't have the resources to hire lawyers on their own. And we have this fabulous group of lawyers in our community who graciously give of their time and talents to help our clients on a pro bono basis and ensure that they get access to justice that they wouldn't normally be able to have and enter the court system. Because we knew we wanted to do a race, and Gerri was so involved in the racing community. And Gerri is one of our absolutely fabulous volunteer. She had been a volunteer with our organization for a number of years, taking on clients and working with all of our folks that we have. It was a natural transition to ask Gerri if she would take this on and join our board. And I don't want to speak for Gerri, but she graciously was like, yes, this is exactly what I want to do. So it was the perfect partnership at the exact right time.
Nice. That sounds like her.
Yes,
Gerri,
very much so.
so that's how you kind of got pulled in.
I did. Nicole and one of the other board members approached me and they said, hey, and at that point in time, as Nicole said, I was a volunteer. I wasn't on the board yet. I started volunteering with the Volunteer Lawyers Program probably within a month after I got my bar results and started practicing law, because to me, there is nothing probably more sacred about being a lawyer than giving back. And we don't do things that are tangible. Like somebody can't go out and see our product on a shelf, or they can't hold what we do, but what we can do is serve the community. And so I've always felt like that was very important. So when they approached me and they said, hey, we want to do this race, and is that something that you'd be interested in helping with, and will you lead it? And I'm like, yeah. Now, 3 years in, I'm like, hey, if this law thing doesn't work out, maybe I can be a full-time race director. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, but it is a lot of fun. And like Nicole said, the program itself is so important to our community as a whole, but also to the community for those who can't afford legal services. I always tell people when they ask about the program, I'm like, not everyone can afford to hire an attorney to get a divorce. Not everyone can hire an attorney if they're being faced with an eviction. And these are the types of things that the program fills that void and helps. And, some of the most rewarding cases that I've handled have been through the Volunteer Lawyers Program.
Oh, wow.
So for me, it is a combination of two things that I am extremely passionate about. I'm kind of a trial lawyer by day, but that's what I do. What I am is a runner and somebody who wants to serve. And so again, for me, the race just puts that together in the most perfect way possible.
I love that. I'm going to just put that on a t-shirt. Except
She's amazing.
Right? Man, what I do is this, but who I am. Oh, dang it, I love you. Okay. It sounds like a wonderful program. And I know we didn't go over this before. How can people, how do you get the word out about the program? Like if I knew somebody that is needing services like that, do I just say, hey, call my friend Gerri? How do people know about the program? How can we get that word out?
So a variety of different ways. We do have a website. It's VLPMadisonCounty.com. People can go to our website and get more information about the different projects that we run. We have several different clinics that we do on a monthly basis. We do a family law clinic. We do a clinic at the library. We have a partnership with the Disabled American Veterans. We have a partnership with the Veterans Administration, Downtown Rescue Mission, among others.
Okay.
So one way to do it is to go to our website. There's also a website called Justice for All. It's part of the State Bar program, and it's all as an AL, so Justice for Alabama. That would give people contact information for us as well. And a lot of times we get clients through word of mouth, either through organizations that have somebody who needs legal assistance. They're able to contact us. We get a lot of times referrals from either volunteers or other lawyers in town who are unable to take on a case, but they contact us and say, I've got this client who really needs additional help or needs services from that standpoint. People can call our intake line and talk with one of our staff members to fill out the application and ensure that they are eligible for services.
All right, so let's talk about running a little bit. Do you have any favorite running stories, or maybe a favorite running story?
I think my two favorite running stories are probably stories that involve icons of the running world. Jeff and I, my husband and I, did a half marathon in Indianapolis, Indiana, and Meb Keflezi was running it, but he was starting at the back. And that way, every person running at the race got to see him because he passed them. And so you're running in this group of people and you hear the people running. I got chills just thinking about this. You hear people yelling, Meb's coming, Meb's coming. And, to just be that close to running royalty as he passed by was absolutely amazing.
Oh, cool. Cool.
I mean, it's just because like mere mortals, I'm a mid to back of the packer at best. And so to see the elites, I never get to see them ever. They're showered and have snacks and everything by the time I'm halfway through.
They've taken in a movie.
So exactly.
I understand.
So, that was very cool. And then very similarly, a few years later, right after the Olympics, Molly Seidel did the same thing at the Falmouth Road Race. And it was to raise money. So she started at the back, and every person that she passed, money was donated by her sponsors to a big charity for the Falmouth Road Race. So that was very cool to see Molly doing the same thing after she had, I just watched her on television in the Olympics.
Oh my gosh, that's cool. That is really cool.
Yeah, it's just really cool to be able to see that and have that experience.
Oh, yeah. And then just watch them go by with their strides. I cheered. I went to New York City for the New York City Marathon, not to run in it, but to cheer for it one year. I was part of the Badass Lady Gang at that time, and they were rolling out they had like a premiere of this film that they did. And as part of the weekend, though, we went to cheer for the New York City Marathon. And, the elites come by, and it's just they're just different people. They're just different people. And it's just incredible to watch, right? And I wasn't in a race with them, though. And so to be in a race with them, that's pretty cool. That was very cool.
It was a very, very cool experience. I mean, it's hard for me to sit here and think about any cool running stories of running on my own because I tend to have a mind of a goldfish. And as soon as the race is over, I just want to forget it and look at the next one.
Sometimes I try
to keep going. But those are two runs that will always stand out to me.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. And Nicole, what about you?
So I'm that cheerleader on the side. I am not really the runner. Gerri talks about being the mid to the back of the pack. I think I'm literally at the back of the pack. I'm like the sweeper person, or I'm the person behind the sweeper, and they're saying, come on. Yep. So I tend to be the cheerleader on the side of the road, and I'm a runner mom. I have two sons who both run cross country for their schools. So I find myself, my running is when I start at the start line and then I run to the middle of the race to try to catch them at the mile marker. And then I run to the next spot to try to catch them at the next mile and hope that they haven't passed me by the time I can get there because they're so much faster than I am. And I'm probably like huffing and puffing trying to get over to them. So I'm part of that pack. And when you start seeing, if you've ever been to the cross country races and there's this pack that just goes this way and then everybody goes this other side. So I'm usually in there getting to see all their teammates and friends from other schools, cheering them on with that from there. So I have a different experience from that standpoint, but it's always so fun to get to see. And I get to kind of translate that to our race as well, too, that it's so fun to watch people coming through or to see everybody as they're starting to run and then just being there to encourage them. We're like, you're almost there. Like it's right around the corner. So I use some of my same terminology from my cross country races with our race too. I'm like, I've got the kick it in and it's around the corner. Don't give up. So I'm that one yelling those things.
Okay. All right. Let's get into why we're here, which is the race for justice, right? So let's talk about how you got involved with the Race for Justice or the Madison County Volunteer Lawyers Program and like where it all started, right? So Nicole, do you want to start this one?
was I'm going to let Gerri talk a little bit about the race details itself. But as I said before, like the ability for us to connect with Gerri and convince her to come out of her just a volunteer for us role and to take on this role as race director, which she has done for the past 3 years, and she doesn't know it, but we're keeping her forever. She can never retire from race director. She signed a contract that she just didn't realize that she had signed.
This is very small print.
It was very small print on her board form that said, I'm the race director for eternity.
Lifetime commitment.
From that standpoint with it. But the ability for us, as I said before, to connect with Gerri and to dive into her passion for running has been huge for us. And we've been really excited. She's been the driving force for us with this race, and we couldn't do it without her.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Nicole. You know, when I started directing the Race for Justice, I think if anybody knows anything about me, they know that I'm kind of an all-in type person. Like when I jump in, I just go all in. So part of the first thing that I did was compile the committee, right? Because no one can pull off something like this on their own. I have no ego amigo. I mean, I need that help. I need to surround myself. So we put together a great committee. And I think it was maybe at our first meeting, I was like, look, I don't want this to be a one-off, right? Like Huntsville has a ton of 5Ks, and we're blessed to live in such a great community where we have so many options for 5Ks, because not everywhere has that. But I'm like, I don't want to be just another 5K. Well, we also knew that years and years ago, over Memorial Day weekend, there was the Montesano 5K and 10K.
I remember running that.
Yeah.
I did it every year with my kids.
And I said, well, here's the thing. Why don't we take that spot, and why don't we offer a 5K and a 10K? So we'll offer both, because we don't have a whole lot of races here that offer both of those options. And then it really morphed, because if nothing else, I want Race for Justice not only to benefit equal access to civil legal services in the community, I want Race for Justice to be accessible to anyone. So whether somebody runs a 5-minute mile or whether someone walks a 25-minute mile, forward is a pace, right? I mean, Lisa, you've heard me say that on our runs together. Like, don't get hung up on the numbers. Forward is a pace. And
she's told me that. Literally, she's told me that.
I just, I just feel like it's so important to have a race that anyone can feel comfortable at. Whether you are a speed demon, like a Matt Fletcher or a Josh Whitehead or Samantha Whitehead, or you want to walk it, great. And we encourage that. We have really worked to incorporate that in among the Race for Justice. I know when people are like, what race is it? And I said, well, here's the deal. You have choices. You have a 5K, you have a 10K. You can do both. The times are set to where every individual can do the 10K followed by the 5K. We do the 10K earlier because it's August 1st or September 1st in Alabama. We know it's hot, so we get the longest race out of the way first.
Smart. That's smart. That's dang smart.
Yeah. And then, so those who want to do both can do both. We have a 1-ish mile run for the kids. So the kiddos can go out there on the same course. They go under the same finish line that all of the racers go under, because truly, I want to make it a family affair, right? Where, if mom wants to run or dad wants to run and bring the kids, they can all run their own races and everyone can get involved.
Nice.
And so I think it's just really important to have that.
I love that. That's at the core, that was one of the reasons why I started Behind the Bib, because I am one of the people that come in at the back of the pack And sometimes I've had bad experiences where I wish more race directors could listen to you and see the intention in which you have planned Race for Justice, that this is truly an inclusive race, that folks, no matter your pace, no matter your ability level, no matter your age level, no matter your age level, there's something for you, right? At Race for Justice. And even the intentionality behind that, I didn't know you did this, behind doing the 10K first because it's hot and you get it out of the way, and you start early. So that is really, really intentional planning. And you don't get that in every race, especially not the 5K and the 10K option. So that's pretty spectacular. And thank you for doing that.
I think that does come in handy that I'm a runner. I've run a lot of races. And so I sat back and said, what are things that are important to me as a runner?
Mm-hmm.
And what's important to me, when I finish. And I will tell you, one of the things that probably made me the most emotional last year about our race were so many of the participants hung out around the finish line and cheered on every finisher after them. I mean, to the last person. Mm-hmm. And as a race director, I stand out there and I'm going to announce everybody coming in and congratulate them and clap, but to see the other runners do it, mm-hmm. it was just a very special moment.
I love it. I love that. Absolutely.
And that's something that's neat to me too, from mm-hmm. being the cheerleader that mm-hmm. I am normally at those races. And sometimes in a race, you start seeing those runners at the very end. The crowd is kind of dissipated at that point. Mm-hmm. And I think that is something that is very special at our race, is that, and it wasn't planned. It wasn't that we told people go out and cheer for everybody, but everybody did. They saw some of the other people coming in. We had people at the end that were walking it. They had walked some of it. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna get personal on it. I had my husband and daughter that walked most of it. And my daughter was like, I am going to beat my father. So she started running at the end and she was going to run across the finish line. And he realized that she was about to do that. So he's trying to catch up to her. They're both like pushing each other to cross the line. She beat him, and she will always tell him that she beat him.
Oh, yeah.
In a race. He's a former runner, so she can rub it into him on that. But there were so many people there cheering on those end runners. And I think it was so great for them to be able to have that.
That's wonderful.
Encouragement and the fun there, because you see it a lot of times with those, mm-hmm. with our faster runners and mm-hmm. races that you have. But to be able to be there and have those participants cheer on everybody at whatever their level of running ability was, mm-hmm. it's something that's special.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's going to be fantastic. Yeah. Tell us a couple of details about the race, like where it is, how to register, what the elevation is. Is there a big old suicide hill in the middle of it? Like cutoff times, if you have those. Yeah, Gerri's like, absolutely not.
So our 5K and our 10K courses are now certified. That's nice. New this year. We have gotten them certified. What that means for your listeners and for you, Lisa, is that every participant this year has an opportunity to set a course record that will stand because they are certified.
Nice.
But no, these are probably the 5K and the 10K race are two of the flattest races that you are ever going to find in the city of Huntsville. If there is any elevation, for those who have run around Airport Road or John Hunt Park, mm-hmm. we do not go on the park. Our race starts and ends at Wicks Family Field at Joe Davis Stadium. So home of the Huntsville City Football Club.
Yeah. They
are 100% on the roads. We do not get on the cross-country course at John Hunt.
Okay.
But to keep all of our runners safe, and most people don't realize this, there is a tunnel that goes under Airport Road and pops you back up over on the John Hunt Park side.
Mm-hmm.
that tunnel going down and back up, that's the only elevation in this race. The rest of it is flat. It is pancake flat.
Very intentional.
It's descending into the tunnel. That's the only elevation.
That's your elevation. I mean, that's what you get for this.
I love it.
Yeah, it is a completely flat race. One unique thing that I really appreciate in that developing the courses, and look, it's just the nature of the beast, right? We've got a 10K that's 6.2 miles. We're limited in space, so you're going to go around the stadium a couple times. But by doing that, you get to see the other runners, so you like never really feel like you're by yourself at all. And that's a lot of fun. And the other runners get to see you coming in and where you are. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. Definitely a flat course. Our first place finishers in every race, male, female, for 5K and 10K, instead of getting a trophy award, which we have, they get a gavel. So it's really become a thing. People want the gavel.
Cute. Dang, I wish it was faster.
We also offer a gavel to the first place male and female attorney in each race.
That's cool too.
So yeah, and they get a gavel. And I've heard that, gavels sit on desks, and it's just a little something different that we do.
Is this going to become like the Ryan Schroem hat thing? Like
it might get the gavel. Yeah, Ryan Schroem hats started before the gavels did. But maybe we'll be Huntsville's Ryan Schroem hats. Will be the gavel from Race for Justice.
Is there anything else that sets you apart from the other races that might be going on at the same time?
We recognize this race is on Labor Day. It's a holiday. A lot of people are at the lake or at the beach, or it's the kickoff to football season. And, so they may be in Tuscaloosa for the weekend, or they may be in that other school down south.
The other place. There's another place in Alabama, right?
It escapes me right now.
Yeah.
But I've just lost some listeners. Sorry. We recognize that. We also recognize that not everyone wants to wake up early on a holiday, or not everyone is able to come out and walk or run. So I wish that I could take credit for this brainchild as being something I woke up at 2:00 in the morning and thought of. This is something I saw years and years ago, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I'm like, I'm stealing that. We offer a sleep in for justice option. So if someone can't make it out to the race, or can't, or just doesn't want to, or they're going to be out of town, we offer the option for them to register for the sleep in for justice. And they will still get very cool shirt. This is our Race for Justice shirt. But most importantly, they're still supporting the Madison County Volunteer Lawyers Program, because their registration goes just as every other race registration goes to the program.
That is fantastic. So, but you can sleep in for justice. What a very cool option. So if you're injured, if you're out of town, or if you're just, at another school or whatever, then you have the option to sleep in for justice. I loved that. Absolutely. Okay. So tell us a little bit about how folks can find out more information about the race and how to register.
Registration is on Run Sign Up. So you can go to runsignup.com and you can search for Race for Justice Huntsville.
Okay.
And it will take you directly to the sign up link for the race. And that includes 5K, 10K, both. Kids Fun Run, and the Sleep In for Justice.
Nice.
Options, people, you have options.
So many options.
And then we're also on Facebook under Race for Justice Huntsville as well.
Okay.
Awesome. And on that page, You'll find information about the race. You'll find the link where you can go to register. And right now, we also are in the midst of a 5K training plan that I post every week, that week's workouts, so that individuals who may have never run a 5K before, or they ran 10 years ago and they're like, oh, I would like to run it, or I did it last year, I'd like to maybe run some of it. We offer basically taking you from the couch to a 5K. I think we're entering week 6, if I'm not mistaken, this week, which should probably see folks on their biggest workout running maybe 2 miles or maybe 2.25 miles. But we're working to get you ready for September the 1st.
Oh, that's fantastic. So with it on the Facebook page, there is a free, we'll call it a Couch to 5K program that you're almost halfway into. But if folks want to hop on and start training for it with if they have the goal to run part of it or to run all of it, you've got a training plan out there for folks to be able to get to where they want to be.
Yeah, absolutely. It posts every Sunday evening that the following week's workouts.
Okay, awesome. Kind of like when the Huntsville Runs newsletter comes out.
That's true.
Okay, so that talks a little bit about your socials, that you have a training plan, which I love that you do, by the way, because a lot of folks out there can, I remember when I did my first Couch to 5K, like I wanted to run a 5K and that was my goal. And now, it's just drank all the Kool-Aid, and marathons later, we're still going, right? So we've come to the segment in the show that is actually my absolute favorite. And we talked a little bit about, before we started recording, my favorite part is to ask people what one piece of advice that you may have is. Whether it doesn't have to be about running, it can be about running, it can be about life. It doesn't have to be about, anything in particular. But do you have one piece of advice that you would like to share with the listeners out there? And maybe Nicole, we'll start with you on this one.
Sure. And it may sound cliche to quote Nike, but just do it. I
love it.
Regardless of whether it's running a 10K or a 5K or even our 1 mile-ish, or anything in life, just go do it. Don't be afraid. Don't hold yourself back. Get out there and do it. And as we talked about with our race, if you run it, if you walk it, if you crawl across the finish line and pass out, we'll have water and popsicles for you. But
popsicles.
You've done it. Yes, we have good popsicles. You've done it.
All right, very cool. Thank you, Nicole. And what about Gerri? What about you? What do you have?
So I'm going to get to my one piece of advice, but I want to piggyback on what Nicole said about after the race, because I will tell you also, this is something we really pride ourselves on, that we have a very super fun after party for the race that is actually inside the stadium.
Really?
So we cannot be on the pitch. It is still in season for the soccer team. However, we're in the beer garden area. They have our logo up on the jumbo screen. And so you have wonderful photo ops for you and your family with the pitch in the background and the Race for Justice logo. And we do have a photographer that will be taking photographs of the race, and they will be free downloads for every participant. So now, my one piece of advice. Sorry, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about our after party, because it's as important as the race itself.
Oftentimes, a lot of the reason why we do it.
So, my one piece of advice, honestly, and I alluded to it earlier, find your passion, find what makes you you. And I know, Lisa, you said, I never really thought about that. There is a difference in what we do and who we are. And, we can be passionate about our jobs. I love my job. I love what I get to do on a daily basis. And, but at the end of the day, I would probably want to be remembered more for what I did outside of my job, and how I treated people or what I did in that aspect. So, I would really just encourage your listeners, find your passion and then find how you can fit into your passion. seek those out, seek out the opportunities. And, when someone approaches you with something very scary, but you're really passionate about it, jump in. And like Nicole said, just do it. Don't limit yourself, because, your passions are going to show through, and, that's where you're going to get the reward.
Oh my God, I love it. There's a reason why this is my favorite part. I should just rename the show, because I absolutely love listening to people, because it's amazing how much wisdom we just bring to the table, and we're just out there running together and talking and seeing each other in the grocery store lines and things like that. And we all, we're walking through life, and we have this whole experience that we bring to the table, right? This whole experience and being, and it's just wonderful. This is my favorite part, is finding your passion and diving in. And Nicole, one of my favorite sayings is just do it scared. I used to tell my kids that when they were little, and they would be complaining, like whether it was a new sport or a new stroke or a new something. And I said, but mom, and they would say, but mom, I'm scared. And I would say, well, baby, do it scared. It's okay. If you're not scared, you're not growing, right? We're set in our comfort zone. And Gerri, I keep saying this to myself as I'm thinking about that crazy sign up thing. And I'm like, oh my God, I've never been so scared for a race. But it was later, Nicole, that, I was scared to go to the gym. Like, I go to the gym, but I was scared to go to the weight section and put the plates on and do the weight, do the things like that. I would do the machines and stuff. And I would always, run on the treadmill and do it all within my comfort zone. I had the things that were in my comfort zone, and I would go do that. But I always would look over there at the squat racks and the hip thrust machines, and I wish I could do that, or I wish I could be brave enough to do that. And I just never was. And finally, my daughter looked at me, now 23 years old, and she says, Mom, just do it scared. And I was like, oh.
Back around.
Yeah, you're right. I'm going to do it scared. But you know what? That was the little push I needed. And so I went in, I'm like, you know what? Put my big girl panties on, and I went over there and I started doing the things. I downloaded, I started following people on Instagram that had these workouts I wanted to do. And then I signed up for the Runna app that Gerri told me about. And now I'm comfortable in the weight section of the gym. And if I didn't do it scared, I wouldn't be, right? So I'm like, okay, do it scared. Just do it and find your passion.
Yep.
I love it. All right, guys.
I heard one time somebody say, the biggest fear was always but what if I fail? But the response to that is that you tried and you did it anyway. You can't go into anything thinking I might fail. You just have to go into it saying, I'm going to own this. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, then I'll know what I need to fix to make it work in the future.
Yep. Didn't do that right. Let's try it again. You guys, Nicole and Gerri, it's been wonderful talking to y'all today. I will take the links and I'll put the number for the Madison County Volunteer Lawyers Program. I'll put it down in the show notes below, as well as a link to the website, as well as a link to the Facebook page for the race and the run sign up for the race as well, so that folks can go directly to the show notes below and go check out your socials and go sign up for the race. And as a final parting thought, real quick, the race is on this day, at this time, at this location.
Race day is on Monday, September the 1st at Wicks Family Field at Joe Davis Stadium. The 10K begins at 7 a.m. The 5K begins at 8:30, and it will be on the dot. The races will start on time. And then packet pickup, because of the holiday, packet pickup will be the Friday before, and it will be held at Running Lane from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Okay, awesome. There you have it, folks. So this sounds like it's going to be a fantastic race for the Huntsville community. Labor Day, even if you're not here on Labor Day, it sounds like there's a sleeping in option that folks can take advantage of and still support this very, very important work this organization does for our community. Gerri and Nicole, thank you so much for being on the show, for talking about your race, but more importantly, for what you do. And
thank you, Lisa.
Of course, of course. And as always, we will see y'all the next time we are behind the bib. All right, y'all take care. Okay, was that not a fantastic conversation with Gerri and Nicole about the upcoming Race for Justice on Labor Day? 10K, 5K, 1-ish mile option for the kiddos out there. Sounds like a pretty completely flat profile with the exception of a tunnel. Gerri, thank you so much for that consideration for those of us that covet the flat races. All right, and what about that sleeping in option? Now, that is a thing, and that, maybe even my husband will sign up for it then. Just kidding, he's volunteering. So, if y'all want to sign up for the Race for Justice, it sounds like they do fantastic work for our community, as well as it sounds like it's going to be a pretty dang good time with the after party in the Wicks Family Stadium afterwards. Y'all go sign up for Race for Justice. I'll put the links to do all of the things down below. All right, let's talk about some upcoming local races, including the Race for Justice. Before the Race for Justice, we have the Running of the Bulls 5K and 1 mile fun run. That is on August 23rd, as well as, you guessed it, the Race for Justice, the 5K, the 10K, which starts first, and the 1 mile-ish run for the kiddos. That is Monday, September 1st, Labor Day. Then, following that is the Rails to Recovery 5K on September 13th. And then we start getting into the fall running weather, which we all know comes with those wonderful PRs, like the low temps and the, dear God, zero humidity or zero-ish humidity. I would take 50% at this point. Anyway, y'all go sign up for Race for Justice. There's the races, the upcoming local races down below as well. And if you want to know where to run and who to run with and all of the run clubs that are going on in Huntsville, head over to the huntsvilleruns.com site and provide your email. And the wonderful and awesome Will Nevin will add your name to an email distribution list in which you will get all of the updates every Sunday afternoon in your email box. And that will have the runs that are happening during the week, as well as the upcoming local races. So do that and you will be all set, and you will have plenty of options out there for all of your running desires. Okay, folks, y'all stay cool out there. We are halfway through August. Just hold on just a little bit longer. We're almost to the fall. I can feel the crunch of the leaves under my feet, and I can smell the pumpkin spice in the air. Oh, we're almost there, folks. Just hang on a little bit longer. Y'all do me a favor, head on over to Behind the Bib Podcast on Instagram, give me a follow. The one on Facebook, give me a like and a follow. And the one on YouTube, check that out as well. And don't forget, if you leave me a comment or a review on any of the podcast platforms, I will dedicate a bad joke to you. Y'all, thanks for being here. Let's keep showing up for one another, whether you are first, whether you are last, or whether you are somewhere in between. I'll see y'all next time. We're Behind the Bib. Take care. You've been listening to Behind the Bib, where we have real talk for every runner.